Welcome to the Website Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping women in business get more traffic and sales through their website with less reliance on social media and paid ads. I'm Jules White, the founder of the Website Success Hub, and I love helping local and online businesses make more money through their existing website. If you have a business you love but you don't like the way your website performs, then this is the show for you.
Hi, so I thought I would start a little series, very basic, recording it on my phone, on my voice note, so no fancy mics or anything. So sorry if the quality sounds a bit echoey. I'm standing in my kitchen. Just want to record a few voice notes to document my journey, really. I decided yesterday, after skirting around it for years and years, really, that social media and me are done. Even as I say that, I feel a little bit anxious. I have had for a long time. I've had my messaging, and I do firmly believe, and have done for forever, really, that social media is optional. That you can and should focus on other things in your business before you turn to posting and the damaging effects of the scroll and everything. So I created a podcast series earlier last year that was called Social Media is Optional, and it talked all about the different aspects of social media and using social media in our business, how it affects us personally, how we are buying into a system that's set against us, particularly as women, and how it's damaging for us. And it still doesn't get to the results that we want. I think that's the big thing for most business owners that I speak to, is it's not just about avoiding the social media. It's not just about the feelings we get from using social media. It's about the fact that we do all this, we spend so much time, energy, stress on it, and it still doesn't bring in the clients that we want it to. So I have been having some thoughts about how I could just make my life less noisy and more minimalist, spend less time on my phone, less time on screens, and just come back to living a slower life, living a life where I am not constantly bombarded with all the messages and all the noise and all the FOMO and everything else that comes from spending so much time on my phone and from being on social media. And I don't actually use social media that much anyway. I'm certainly not spending hours scrolling every day. But I have been, up until now, had that as part of my business. And I think I was holding on to the optional part of it. And I don't post. It's very rare that I would actually post on social media. Very incredibly rare that I would do something like Reels and all of that sort of thing. But I do still feel that FOMO. I still feel that thing of, if I'm launching, if I'm doing a promotion, if I'm trying to have a focused effort to grow my email list, if I'm doing anything like that, probably I should post on social. I get that feeling as well of, if I just post on social, then that could be the thing that could bring people in right now. And I think one of the big things that I realise with that is that it's the dopamine hit, and that's why I love SEO and focusing on those slower marketing tactics like podcasts, like PR, like all of the things that actually you don't get that instant hit where you post something and it either does well or it doesn't, and you feel like you get that instant gratification, really. The reason that I've kind of gone down this route is I've been thinking about dopamine detox. I've been reading a bit about that. I think from what I've read, it's not a particularly helpful or particularly accurate term, but maybe for me, it's more about the screen detox, the instant gratification. That dopamine hit is what I'm trying to avoid. And we need dopamine. It's something that is part of our natural hormones that help us to be motivated, help us to do the things that we need to do and want to do in our daily lives. So we can't avoid dopamine altogether. And I actually spent a big chunk of this weekend doing a jigsaw. And I like doing jigsaws, but I have avoided doing them for a while because I get a little bit addicted to it. And what I end up doing is spending too long on it. And I sort of agonised a little bit over this over the weekend, and I was beating myself up about it. And it's ridiculous, because if I'd made a choice to sit and read a book all day, I wouldn't feel like that. I wouldn't feel like, actually, I couldn't put my book down. It was so good, I couldn't put my book down. I wouldn't blame myself for that. It's a different kind of dopamine to doom scrolling. And I had that little bit of feeling bad because I'd spent probably longer than I intended to. But when I was doing it, I was also in complete flow state, which is really good for our minds. So I wasn't thinking about anything else. And I find it really hard to switch off from work, but I wasn't thinking about anything else while I was doing that jigsaw. I was just thinking about the pieces and just thinking about what I was doing there. I was talking to my mindset coach last week, and we were talking about the ways that I can put these escapes into my life that force me to switch off from work. Things like getting out in the garden, getting on my yoga mat, going for a cold swim, which is absolutely my non-negotiable, that I have to go for my swim at least once a week. Get my bars, release the stress into the water. I definitely feel like that happens when I go for a cold swim. And I just feel amazing afterwards. Honestly, it's so good. So I was thinking about how I can build these things in. And that led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole in terms of just thinking about that less screen time and how I can protect myself from this. And social media is a big part of that. Social media is a big part of those feelings of FOMO, the feelings like not feeling good after you spend time on there, feeling that pull to constantly check. And it's not constant, but if I'm checking social media 3 times a day and that's taking me 10 minutes each time, then actually if I spent those 30 minutes meditating or going for a walk or 30 minutes in my garden, I guarantee that my brain would feel clearer, that I would have less shiny object syndrome, less FOMO, less feelings of failure and inadequacy. And so I just had this idea pop into my head of, okay, what if we were done? What if we were done with social media? What if we said, no, that's not something I now do in my business? Just as an experiment even, just give it a go, see how it goes. What if this was part of the movement and the community that I build, that I bring people together who want to build a business on their terms, who want to build a business that doesn't require them to feed the algorithm and become a content creator for somebody else. And this is the bit I'm most excited about. I've had this thought and this feeling that I want to create a community outside of social media. That's one of the things I would love to do this year. And I haven't posted in my Facebook group for a long time. I can't actually remember the last time I recorded a live podcast, which was all I used to do when I was actually using it. Facebook kind of killed Facebook groups a little bit by making it so you couldn't schedule posts in there from outside of Facebook, and that content was deleted after 30 days. Coming back to building a community outside of Facebook, I do have this dream of being the place where people come and intentionally use a community that's not social media. And it might mean that it's not as noisy in there. And as I said that out loud, that sounds like a good thing, it not being as noisy in there. What I was actually thinking was it might mean that it's not as busy or buzzing in there, but I feel like a lot of Facebook groups have lost that now anyway. And it means that people come there deliberately. I'm not just interrupting people's day, interrupting people's scroll from them happening to catch what's going on in my Facebook group. So I'm excited to do that. I would really love this to evolve for the Website Growth Club to become more than just getting your website in order and getting your SEO working for you, which I think focusing on our own content, I think is the most important part of escaping social media. Focusing on the relationships that we build with people and focusing on the content that we put out there in our own website, the content that we own, our own website, our own podcast. If you want to do podcasting, I think that is one of the most important messages, which I've always talked about. I've always talked about the fact that we need to create content that we own first, because then no algorithm can take that away. And you're building something that's sustainable and doesn't disappear in a few hours or a few days. It's something that's there as an asset for your business. Quality content that shows you as the expert, helps people to actually connect with you and understand what you do, understand how you help them. And it's all part of that. It's all making sure that that is working for us and working for our businesses. So if you're listening to this episode, you can always send me a message. You can text the show, or you can, if we're connected on WhatsApp, you can send me a message there. If not, you can send me a message on Instagram, because one of the great things I've realised about using Go High Level, FEA Create, is that I can still get Instagram DMs without actually going on Instagram. So I'm very excited about that, because DMs or instant messages, if we want to connect with people and have a conversation, I definitely prefer that way of communicating with people rather than email. So yeah, if people can send me a text or a WhatsApp or a DM on Instagram, then that's fine. And that is something that I'm okay with. I'm okay with that being involved in my life and my business. I won't delete my social media profiles. I don't have the apps on my phone. I haven't done for years. And I have a block site thing that I used that stops me going on there. It just blocks me basically, and I have to switch it off to get onto social media. So that's helpful to have that as well. I have a newsfeed eradicator as well. So that's also something that just helps to cut down the noise that I see. I might start using that for YouTube. I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube, but I quite often, if I go in there to add a YouTube video to my channel, then I end up watching other videos in there. And YouTube is different to social media, I think. Like YouTube is more like Netflix, I think, really. And as much as that's not healthy, binging on there's not so much FOMO there. There's not so much shiny object syndrome. There's not all the messaging and the back and forth and all of that kind of stuff, that the noise, there is noise on YouTube, but it's not the same sort of noise as social media. So I may well delete the apps from my work phone. I've already moved them into a hidden folder that I don't look at all the time. And I'm just going to see how it goes. Yesterday was the start of this experiment. So it was the 26th of January, 2026. And I'm going to document how things are going. I am going to see, just take notes of the feelings that come up and how many times that I get that pull. I definitely had it a few times yesterday, that pull of, I should just quickly, and don't want to be doing that. But I think, and I know from when I've had social media breaks before, that the longer you go, the longer you don't use it, the easier that becomes, the less FOMO you get, the less feelings of inadequacy, the more feelings of freedom and joy. And even just making this choice and making this decision, I already feel freer. The great thing about marketing your business and not having social media as an option is it does make you really focus on the other areas. So it's making me think more about, okay, how can I grow my podcast? And I've actually grown the podcast without promoting it on social media or paying for ads. And that's something I'm so proud of, the fact that I've done that. That is my biggest success story for my own business, is the fact that I've got to over 10,500 downloads when I checked last without using social media for my podcast. And I love that. I love it. So that makes me then, without having that thing of, maybe if I just posted on socials, maybe it would grow more quickly. And maybe it would. But the price of doing that, from my point of view, isn't worth the effort. So this has been a bit of a different episode of the Website Success Show. I hope you enjoy it. I would love to know how you feel about social media and using it in your business, using it in your personal life, about the amount of time that you spend on there. If you feel like it's robbing you of things, if you feel like it's robbing you of time that you could spend either marketing your business in more effective ways, or in ways that you feel could help you more, or you feel like it's robbing your personal life, if you feel like it's robbing you of time with your family, time that you could be spent doing more creative things, more hands-on things, more real life things, then let me know. I think it's one of those things that we can use it as a stick to beat ourselves with. But I recorded an episode about why we can't stop scrolling and why social media is addictive. And these platforms are designed to keep you there, keep you feeling inadequate, keep you feeling those stronger emotions, whether that's hate or anger or, outrage, those kind of things that drive people to their more extreme content. And I'll link to this episode, but it's actually the way the algorithms are designed, because they keep you there, they keep you scrolling, they keep you feeling inadequate, and they keep showing you ads and also gathering data on you, gathering data on the type of content that you like, the type of content that keeps you there and keeps you scrolling. And that's how they make their money. And that's what these platforms are all about. There's so much damage that it does. So if you feel like that, if you feel like social media is stealing your life and you want that more conscious way of marketing your business, more sustainable marketing, less dopamine-y marketing, then come and connect with me. You can text the show or you can email me or send me a WhatsApp and let's connect. And if you are looking to actually grow your business using SEO and actually showing up in search, come and join the Website Growth Club. This is all about how you can actually create your content for your own website and set your website up in a way that helps you to actually show up when people are searching for what you do. And they are out there searching for what you do or the problems that you solve for them. So come and join us and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.
If you'd like to attract more local clients, grab my free local visibility checklist. It'll show you the simple steps you can take to show up in your area for what you do. You can download it at thewebsitesuccesshub.com/local. And thanks for tuning in to the Website Success Show.